It's a good start.
Yeah, I hear Susanna coming in. Oh, there's Susanna. Welcome. Come on in.
Question.
We totally, we totally missed the vote.
I do.
Okay.
Get any of
You
that.
need to lock the door
Yeah, I
at
think
the end
that's
of this
called
meeting,
her name one day.
quiet, because there is not another meeting until
So
the
it's too late.
finance committee, and so the door has to be
Maybe it's over next month.
Okay.
Never
Yeah, and it's like.
I am dreaming.
They just showed me how to lock it. I mean, like I've done it once.
Yeah.
So you and I can.
So I tried to figure
Well,
out.
I
if you could get my-
I just really get down to bed.
Yeah, I should, yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'll pay it tomorrow.
And.
Lisa.
Lisa.
Anyway,
I
just close down the last garden.
If you two are going to these meetings, but it is a little bit, I mean, you represent your
Oh, that's true.
So.
Definitely have a little bit of jokes. Last day for kids enjoy Washington School.
Last day for me, we're clear my stuff up there. Yeah, practically that.
Just put an agenda up on the screen. Yes. All right, welcome everybody. It's so lovely to see a full room here today, and I think a few more people will join us, so it's going to be really nice to touch base with everybody. I'm going to start us off with a round of introductions, as we always do at these meetings. So first, I'll start in the room and then head onto the screen. Feel free to include your pronouns if you'd like to. If you could just mention, if you'd like, your connection to Lidwell. So if you participate in a focus team, you could just mention the focus team. If you're a commissioner, just mention your commissioner. I'll kick us off. So as you probably all know, I'm Emily Flynn. I'm the Director of Health and Wellness for the City of Kingston. I use she, her pronouns, and I generally coordinate all of the wonderful work that we're all doing here today. And I'll pass to Katie. We'll go right now.
Okay. Hi, I'm Katie G. Lopez. I am the chair of the focus team. Eat well, yeah.
Lori Barrios, I'm a live well groupie.
Yeah.
Just still a girl.
Grow well and age well. But my background's in occupational therapy, so I feel very suited to be into living well.
Susanna Callahan, and my work is every day is with the Institute for Family Health, and I'm Lidwell Kingston Commissioner, and also I participate in the Heal Well Focus Team.
Hi, Ellen Dixon. My pronouns are she, her, ella. I am chair of the Lidwell Kingston Commission and do a lot of other things in the community. Cindy?
Okay, hi. I'm Cindy Muro. I use she, her pronouns. I am on the Grow Well focus team. Yeah, good.
Kristen Kessler, I use she, her pronouns. I am a project manager for the Department of Health and Wellness, and for Lidwell Kingston, I support kind of like administratively eat well and heal well.
Rob, and then we'll go to the table. Yeah.
Sure. Everybody, I'm Rob Jameson. I'm an entrepreneur in Kingston. I use he, him, and I'm on the Play Well focus team.
Sorry, which focus team?
Play Well.
Well,
Lori, back to you.
I am Lori Ferguson. I'm the commissioner for Eat Well Kingston. I am a nutritionist, a nurse. I volunteer in various places like People's Place, Cafe, and Pantry, and other volunteer places and venues in Kingston.
Thank you. Nettie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Nettie Morano, I'm a age-old groupie. I also am a commissioner for the Historic Landmarks Commission, which is pretty cool, kind of fun.
Thank you. Wonderful. I'm going to go to the folks on the screen. Teresa, you're in my top right corner, then Sarah, and then Katrina. So Teresa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Teresa Widman. I use she, her pronouns, and I am affiliated with O Positive. I do some work for O Positive. Self-employed as a sound healer. I have a radio show on Radio Kingston, and I am with the Heal Well Focus team.
All right, Sarah, it's a tough act to follow.
It is a tough act to follow. I'm gonna go first. I'm Sarah Brainerd, Kingston Land Trust board member, Travel Well Focus Group junkie, Kingston Green Line lover. And in my day job, I am a product director for a healthcare software company. So a little bit of Heal Well in my heart as well.
Thank you so much, Katrina. If you're ready, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, everybody. Sure. My name is Katrina Williams. I use she, her, they, them pronouns. I'm on the Live Well Commission, and I am the Deputy Commissioner at the Ulster County Department of Mental Health. I'm also on the Heal Well Committee.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So we typically do not have a quorum at the moment because we don't have enough commissioners in the room. So let's hold off the approval of the minutes to the end of the meeting in case we get another commissioner too. So that brings us to the fun part of our meeting today. And I think you all know that this is sort of our mini focus team presentation special meeting. It's a great way to hear about what's happening in all of the different focus teams. We have 6 of them. I've asked everyone to sort of keep it to about 10 minutes. We have so much going on that's going to be a hard goal to reach, but let's try to do it quickly. And then I'm hoping at the end, maybe we can connect some dots. We don't have to make connections between the focus teams, but I really love this idea that we are not siloed, because as you all know, health is so broad and yet it's all so connected. So this is an attempt to hear what the other groups are doing, use them as inspiration for the other focus teams, see if there's potential collaborations to do in the future. So just planting those seeds of things to be thinking about as we run through them. I have first on the agenda Travel Well, which Sarah and I can go into. Bear with me as I open up the action plan here. And let's see. So Sarah, do you mind if I kind of go through it and then you tell me what I forgot? And I see your thumbs up. Thank you so much, my dear. All right, so, and I also want to sort of start with Travel Well because with the lovely addition of Kristen and Marsha onto our staff, I've been able to try to focus a little bit more on Travel Well. That's where I came into this work. I also sort of feel like because of that, it is not actually as developed as the other focus teams. So I'm going first with this one, and I think that we're going to, like as a run of show, it's only going to get better from here. And I say that because Travel Well does not meet regularly. So it is sort of the least community developed. It a lot of the Travel Well work is what I personally am advancing in my day-to-day work job. And so I think an ongoing goal for Travel Well is to consider its role and how we want it to match the other focus teams in the future. That said, there's a lot going on. So let me jump into it. So as I mentioned, the goal 1, Travel Well meets regularly. It's actually not happening very much. Sarah and I have met as the Green Line Wayfinding Committee and in other ways. So there is connection. And let me step back by saying that Travel Well, when it first started, was a connector between other transportation groups, like Friendly Kingston, the Complete Streets Advisory Council, and the Green Line Committee. And so we don't want to duplicate the work that's happening in those other groups, but we want to connect those groups. And then again, of course, connect with all the other focus teams. So Sarah and I and other folks have been meeting with other hats on slightly. I can explain that more if necessary. Other goals have been, like, as I said, those goals is to connect those different transportation groups. And there's been a lot of activity in the Complete Streets Advisory Council. I'm the staff liaison for that committee now, so I'm much more deeply involved than I have been in years past. And the Green Line Leadership Meeting has met 3 times this year. And then our third goal is transportation projects that benefit pedestrians and cyclists. So I don't know that I'm gonna go through all of these projects, but I'll list some of the things that are happening. The biggest, I'd say the crown jewel for me of the Travel Well Focus team is the pedestrian and bicycle master plan. This is a planning document for the city of Kingston, which will give recommendations of how to improve walking and biking. And I've been working on it for years. I'm finally presenting it to the Common Council tonight, actually. I feel very optimistic that they're going to approve it and it'll be an official planning document. Within that document is next steps and a lot of recommendations for the work that Travel Well will be doing far into the future. So that's really the cornerstone of a lot of this work. To continue on, because there's a lot of other things happening, as part of that plan, we did a complete streets training. Bike Friendly Kingston has met a few times. That group's a little bit starting and go a little bit. As a part of my other usual work, we do pedestrian and bicycle counts. And I realized I didn't set my timer for myself, so I'm gonna try to go through this really fast. What else do I need to tell you? My department did a Broadway and Prince landscape design project that's now going into the construction phase in 2024. So that was a project that will improve, it'll become a destination for walking and biking. I'm also managing a Green Line wayfinding project. So that's a signage system for the Green Line trails in the city of Kingston. To try to wrap up Travel Well, our last goal is to plan for future transportation projects. So I have some goals here to do, and we'll try to make up a action plan for 2024. So a lot more work to come. Ooh, I feel like I just went through a lot. Any quick questions about Travel Well, or unless there's something that I really feel like I didn't explain very well and you're totally lost, let's try to hold it and we'll try to do all the questions at the end. That's right. I don't see anybody waving me down, like that they just are sort of lost with what I just said.
Any questions after everybody talks?
That was my thought, unless you feel different.
Well, my brain span is probably better after each, if there's questions.
Yeah, okay.
After each.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If something comes up, hard to remember from myself. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Any quick questions about Travel Well? Okay.
I do, so do you not meet regularly because you don't have like a full group of people to meet and because it is such a big part of your job? And that there aren't other agencies quite doing quite the same work? Is that what's happening?
I would say some of it is because it sort of feels like that. It's like there's so many other things that I have to get to first.
No.
So the actual coordination. And then secondly, I think what you're getting at is a lot of those people or a lot of the work that's happening, they're meeting already. And so it feels sometimes a little hard to get people who are already meeting about similar projects to meet again. And in some ways, I do the direct coordination. And I sort of true for every focus team. I don't necessarily want a focus team just to meet.
Yeah.
I would love it if we are advancing goals.
Yeah.
And so Travel Well is clearly advancing goals.
Right.
We're just not necessarily a monthly meeting. I think there's advantages and disadvantages.
Thank you.
You have questions? All right, there's someone coming on in. Heidi, come on in. Since this is the perfect moment before I switch gears, I'm going to put you right on the spot. Heidi, do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Heidi Kirshner with the YMCA.
Thank you so much. Heidi is a commissioner. So let's move on to Adra. Nettie, do you want to help me with that one? I'll bring up the action plan. I can talk through it. Do you want to let me know what I'm forgetting?
I'll try.
Yeah. And in fact, I'm not sure I'm going to bring up the action plan. And then Commissioners, you may remember that Marcia recently did a wonderful presentation about age well with a lot of photos.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna focus on the action plan, but if we wanna jump over to see her, all of her beautiful photos. So, all right, everybody. So, let me also center that Age Well is, working to support seniors in our community, and we specifically focus on the city of Kingston. But of course, we partner a lot with the Office for the Aging, which looks at senior resources and support at the county level. A similar goal throughout all the focus teams you'll see is that our first goal is an active and engaged focus team. And our dear friend Marcia has really, I think, revamped Age Well. One of her favorite phrases is taking the Zoom out of the room. So we've been meeting in person a few times. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Yeah, so we met at the Office for the Aging, Center Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Yeah.
I was getting the two CCEs mixed up.
Yeah.
And then we're planning to meet at the new Kingston Library branch, the temporary Kingston Library branch next. I think we're having some great new folks come into that group. Let's see, what else can we talk about? In Age Well, there's an ongoing goal about technology and connectivity. The Office for the Aging has been offering a lot more classes and programming around that. So that's less of a direct goal for Age Well as it used to be, because in some ways, Office for the Aging is already creating classes where seniors can come in and learn how to use their iPhones or learn how to use their computers. Let's see. A third one is to improve access to transportation. As I said earlier, health is connected. And so we talk a lot in Age Well about in order to feel connected to your community, you have to be able to get to places. And so transportation is there. I'd like to do updates about what's happening in the transportation world in the Age Well group. Marcia has done some programming this year. She has done, where's the name of it? I'm not finding the name of it, but she's done some walking programming at the Midtown Neighborhood Center. And they did a Zumba class at the Broadway Bubble. So that was some great programming that we did this year. What am I forgetting? Think of anything that I'm not mentioning?
No, she's well connected with the county on the activities that they do for seniors, and I think she plans to collaborate in the future with some programming.
I agree, yeah. Just gonna try to quickly just open up the report that she did and just show you these beautiful pictures real fast. So let's see if I can get it to come up and show it real fast. Let's see here. So here's when we were meeting by Zoom. Marcia took us off the Zoom from the room. Let's see here. She has taken us through the different goals that Age Well has had over the different years to sort of track what our future goals will be. It's a nice way that she was tracking that for us. Here's what some of our access to technology was in the past for Age Well. And so this program has sort of come to completion. But as I mentioned, the Office for the Aging is doing a great job of some good work. She was talking about transportation here, so advisor to Age Well. Let's see, she did a walk audit, I believe. Here's the walking group, which she's going to do again this winter again, so there'll be an inside walking group. And here's the Walk with Ease flyer that was developed to advertise that program. And here's the Zumba group. It's lovely to see their faces. I just wanted to make sure you saw it.
It's great.
And let's see, she did some surveys about some future planning. And here it was one of our in-person meetings. And that's about it. All right, any questions about Age Well? Nobody's moving me down, all right. So next up I think would be Eat Well and then Grow Well. Do you want me to bring up that action plan?
Yeah, I don't have slides. Yeah, great. I didn't put together anything so nice. Even though I now realize I do have pictures of some of these things with it, but
I didn't, yeah, no, I didn't ask anyone to put together a presentation for tonight, so you got.
oh yeah, I put some notes. Someone else went and filled that in.
Are you looking at that big?
Filled it in a couple of weeks ago.
No, I wasn't, okay, well, anyway.
Maybe like a week, it was like, it was
I
like
just
really-
did it like the other day and all the dates are new. But, okay, so the Eat Well Action Plan, we had, I think there's 3 main goals. First, wait, well back? Yep. I don't have them memorized.
Oh, no.
So, first one, enhance opportunities for organizations, with the objective to increase healthy eating and access to healthy food in and around Kingston. To learn about each other and collaborate. We can, I think, clean up a little, but it's like networking, really. And that's kind of where we've been the most successful. So you can see we've had 5 meetings so far this year, so we're on a pretty regular schedule every other month. And this year, so we were doing Zoom for a couple of years, and then this year we did a couple in person. So we had, I got them down here. So in February, we had the Lenox Hill Teaching Kitchen, which they're based in New York City, but they do like culinary trainings for institutions and nonprofits. That was a Zoom. We had in April SNAP Ed present on their fruit and vegetable prescription program. In June, we all met in person at the YMCA farm, and we got a tour from one of their, I think she's a staff now, but she's like a former student, now she's in college. So she gave us a tour and we got to see the farm and all of that. And then in August, we didn't have a presenter, but we just met in person at Kingston Point Park, and it was very nice. In October, we went outside Kingston. So we went to the Hudson Valley Research Lab, which is in Highland. It's actually part of Cornell, but it's very cool. They have, it's a 40 or so acre research site, and they have a lot of apple trees and grapes, and they research various pests and diseases and apple varieties and all kinds of things. And the former CCE executive director is the director of that. And then we have one more coming up, so 6 for the year. The next one is going to be a Zoom, December 13th, I think is the day. It's whatever Tuesday. And it's the Ellenville Rural Health Network. So also outside of Kingston, but related. So I can forward that date and the Zoom link if anyone wants to attend. And then up at the top, I filled in, oh yeah, Kristen, I see a couple you added. So one of the biggest values about meeting together is kind of the networking and the opportunities for additional projects that could come out of it. So when Lenox Hill Teaching Kitchen presented, they did connect with a couple of agencies to do trainings, and I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you remember where? And
So yeah, after you brought them in, they were like fantastic, and we actually used them for the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities program. And so we did a training at Season Delicious. Tamika hosted us there, and they trained a couple of Creating Healthy Schools and Communities partners, as well as just some other Eat Well partners. We opened it up on how they do like institutional like cooking, and so we have like the Mental Health Association there, People's Place, folks from the Kane Place Corps, actually Susan from the YMCA Youth Farm Project came. So yeah, that I feel like also I've like followed up with them since then. Like that, I feel like that was such a great connection. Yeah.
Good, that's great. I didn't know that whole list. And SNAP-Ed, FERX, which is fruit and vegetable prescription. Oh yes, they were at the Earth Fair in May with Healwell, and the food storage guide. So that's, I guess, in progress. I'm not involved in that, but is there a status?
Yeah, that was Katrina like from the Hudson Valley Farm Hub, but we were talking one day and she had asked about creating a food storage guide because they donate a lot of produce and wanting to make sure that this produce wasn't going to waste. And I was like, this seems like an Eat Well project, and I feel like Eat Well, like we've got this listserv, and it's just so great to be able to send it out, and a few folks, were interested in that, so I think that was Megan from the Food Vegetable Prescription Program from CC Ulster County, and then Joe, Kyojo was also interested, so I call that, I don't know, like a working group, because there is a clear intent to create this food storage guide, which it seems really cool to have like some sort of like tangible outcome that's coming out of Ulster Eat Well. So yeah, and that came as about Eat Well, so all these connections were super great.
Just scrolling down. Oh, and then Eat Well featured in, someone's in the waiting room, should have. Yeah, please. Okay. March 20, NM, and our local, what is this?
So for the Creating High Schools and Communities grant,
Oh, okay.
we put out a part of our work plan is do a quarterly newsletter. And so for one of them, in National Nutrition Month, that's what NM is, wrote about like what a local food system is. So that you could check that box.
Okay. All right, so then goal 2, outreach to new and underrepresented stakeholders in the local food system to encourage participation in Eat Well Kingston meetings. So our objective there, which we had talked about a year ago, was conduct 3 outreach activities during the year. We didn't do 3 for sure. But Kristen did put together a survey for the end of the year, so that's currently open. And there's a request to identify gaps in participation. So that's something to work on further for next year. We do have pretty regular participation. There's usually like around 15 people in person. It kind of shrinks a little, which is good and bad, right? It's nice to meet in person, but people don't travel necessarily. But it is, there's a lot of CCE, Cornell Cooperative Extension representation, there's a city representation. So there's definitely more that we can have. All right, and then the third goal is to increase support of healthy eating and nutritious food access through policy change. So there's some information sharing, and also, I don't know if you put it in there, the vending guidelines.
No, yeah, I did not put that in there, but that is a good call out. Only one person, so the city of Kingston is putting out an RFP to get new vending machines at our municipal buildings. That is again a part of the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities grant. And I spoke with Katie about like maybe having a subcommittee, like we had, I think that was actually talked about in our August meeting with Melinda, to help be a part of that and provide input. Only Stacey Kraft responded to maybe be part of the subcommittee, so it's not really a subcommittee. But you're right, that should be listed as a policy change under our action plan. If anyone's interested and you want to be a part of Eat Well and be a part of that subcommittee, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep y'all updated. It's cool.
And then, Kristen, did you just want to talk about the cooking workshop?
Yeah. So just to build on everything that Katie was sharing. So, a lot of my work is in like community nutrition. So that's like what I do just generally as well for the city of Kingston. So I have a lot of capacity because that is my staff time to work on it. And as a part of I'm just going to call it CHISC. Sorry guys, it's the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities program. As part of CHISC, we decided that we wanted to do a Veggie of the Month pilot. And so this was a Veggie of the Month campaign that was citywide called Kingston Eats Veggies, where it was building upon the Veggie of the Month program that Land to Learn had in a couple of the elementary schools, so they do garden-based education. And so we brought it to food pantries, to more schools, to community-based organizations, to restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. It was very exciting. And ultimately we decided that we wanted to do a cooking workshop at the end of it because it's not like we were already doing enough with this Veggie of the Month campaign. And so we had this cooking workshop that really felt like it was within the spirit of Eat Well, although it didn't really fall into any of our strategies or objectives. And we hosted that at the newly renovated kitchen at the Annie Murphy Neighborhood Center, where we had 18 participants, which was super exciting. I was shocked that we were full, to be honest, but it was so much fun. It was great. They came in, Maria Reidelbeck from Cornell Cooperative Extension, was the instructor for it, and so Nina and Tracy are there. They're part of the Chisc team. They did the kids section, so these photos are from the kids making kale salad and fruit crisp. And then the other photos on the first screen, the like parents, caregivers, adults, older teens were in the kitchen making the meal. And then at the end of it, we all had this like family meal where we sat down and no one wanted to leave. And I really wanted to go home because it was late, but I didn't want to kick anyone out because it was so lovely. And it was just really great. So we're hoping that was something else we'd love to, think about Eat Well in the future. If there's like a subcommittee that will work on perhaps helping to define what this, calling it culinary nutrition programming will be at the Annie Murphy Neighborhood Center. That space is managed by our Parks and Rec department, so anything will be kind of a proposal to them to see if we can use that space, but it was the best time. It was exhausting, but so much fun, and I think that everyone had a really good time and we had a positive response, so just wanted to share the photos and a lot of activity.
Any questions about Eat Well? I know we're going through it all fast.
I did have a question. The food storage guide, are you looking to make it for fresh, canned, frozen, or what?
I think the intent behind it was for fresh, because it was born out of fresh produce donations and how maybe not everyone knows where to store tomatoes, and that leads to sometimes food waste, and wanting to help support there. It is a work in progress in the working group has kind of talked through it. So yeah, that's a work in progress. I guess, can I say? I'm sorry, if you have any more.
No, I'm interested in that, but just for a guideline, just for fresh food is a lot difficult because each fresh item has different hold and use times and ways to storage, like some vegetables or herbs, you need to put in water or stand them up or not seal the bag. It's a lot.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's,
I took a class with the National Food Bank and we went through a food storage guideline and it included all frozen, fresh, boxes, cans.
Yeah.
But it's a necessity to eliminate food waste and to increase healthy eating. Excuse my bad.
And
thank you for the collard greens.
Oh yeah, I know. I didn't get to make the meal that you cooked, but I think that's what the working group, they are getting together and asking all these questions and kind of defining what the need is and what resources are already out there. So they're working throughout that. I was just gonna offer that I think the cooking workshops, Marsha and I were talking in the office one time and just kind of like casually talking about how it could be talking about focus teams, maybe collaborating, we're about to get to Heal Well soon, well not next, but Dr. Sanchez from the Institute for Family Health will be, the medical director at the new Pine Street location. And she's really interested in nutrition and food. And so she actually came, I should have mentioned this, she came to our cooking workshop last week with her daughter. And so we're working together along with another partner to come up with some cooking workshops for 2024. And that feels like a really cool Heal Well and Eat Well collaboration. And we have a doctor being a part of this, so it's let's really bring that in, and then even grow well. If there's opportunities, grow food, and it's how can we use that in our kitchen or age well? I feel like there's interest in specifically for seniors. So although I just like foods, let's just take all of our focus teams and just put it. That's really cool. I just want to put that thought out there.
Any other Eat Well questions? Down. Grow Well, Cindy, do you want me to bring up the action plan? And then I have Marsha's beautiful photo presentation.
Sure. We'll see if I can see it. Yeah. I have a tendency to like forget all the little details of
Yeah.
the things we did. It's just like, oh, we help people garden.
Yeah. It's always, I feel like Growell, whenever I tell people about Growell, they're like, oh yeah, I get it. It's like the easiest one, I think, sometimes to explain.
Oh, yeah, maybe. So yeah, this group started, I was like 2021. I know there was a conversation that started as soon as the pandemic kicked off, and I think it took a year of kicking words around with the group to finally move into the Live Well Kingston umbrella. So, but this year was a great year. We support the existing community gardens in Kingston and are always looking to expand on that and help people with their gardening things. We did have a community garden. This was our second annual community garden tour, which we did by bicycles this year, and it was also set up very well organized so that if people wanted to go by car from place to place, we had set times where you could stop at each garden, and there's a picture of us all chit-chatting and stuff like that. It was hot, and it was that smoky time of year but we made it through just fine. We did manage to have just one, I think, out of Zoom meeting, and I'm sure that next year we will kick into, or as we get into the warmer weather or whatever, we met at one of the gardens. Yeah, yes, what else?
We were able to sort of coordinate some materials between the different gardens, so that's sort of nice to.
Right, this year it was great, that we were able to work together, and some old lady with the pickup truck showing up to deliver things, which is what it's for. And also we worked in coordination with the YMCA Farm Project on a grant. Which brought us some compensation for the garden stewards, as well as I know that in the spring we're going to be, or that grant was getting some additional compost to the gardens. And I feel like it, Growell, the group, has been great for each of the community gardens, like just in supporting each other. Because I feel like before we were all operating in a vacuum. And, it's really nice sharing ideas, sharing, materials, and all of that has made it better for all of the gardens. We did do a trial gardening thing with the ARC because they wanted to garden. And they had a few beds at the Round Out Gardens, had difficulty, it was sort of like a, let's see how this goes. And I think we realized that it was too big of an effort for them to get their people down there by the van. So they're looking at having some raised beds right at their facility, which we will continue to support them in doing that. What else? I've been gardening the Varmint Park Community Garden, which is sort of re-resurrected now, and is a little bit being, coaxed along with the Metro building right next door. So the Boys and Girls Club has been really active in that garden. And it's also nice because they have Chef Joe Beast goes in there once a week, and now he's using produce that the kids have grown. They made collards last week. So it's all kind of, all these different connections are making everything better. And so you can tell me what I left out now.
That was really great. I want to bring up that stipend program. That was significant because that was a goal in the action plan for a long time. And partnering with the YMCA Farm Project, of course, makes that much easier, but it's something that I think we would love to bring into the other focus teams as well, is figuring out ways to pay people to be able to participate in some of this work. So I think that was really significant that we did figure out a way to do it.
Is that the roundout garden area?
That is round out, held by the rainbow fence.
Now, is that connected to the Kingston housing, or is it separate property?
Separate, it's owned by the city of Kingston, that and the basketball court is technically city property. But we would like to connect more with the Kingston Housing Authority, and I believe, I can't speak for the Kingston Housing Authority, but I believe that they are proposing like a renovation project, and so there is conversation about how can we incorporate
I've
that.
been asking.
Any questions about Growell? I'm not gonna, the action plan talks about a lot of what we've just said in sort of a dry way. So if anyone wants to dig deeper into Growell, they can go into that. Lori, you participate, I think that we're forgetting. Need for the experience.
Whatever city says coming.
I just didn't have capacity, I really wanted to stay on.
I know, well, and I think there's a lot of crossover with you, you know what I mean, so there's, such a tremendous amount of crossover, but Taylor is good. I call her and her pickup truck. And there's a lot of work that happens that doesn't get reported on, and it's just, I'm sure in every focus group, but it makes the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so like, I would love to just capture everything the city does, because I love so much. Also, Growell meets, I would say, pretty much on average twice a month, which is a lot compared to
I know.
other folks' teams.
But we meet one time during the day working hours and one time in the evening because, and I was just speaking to someone who's like, oh yeah, I'd like to jump in on one of those meetings, but I can't do it during the day. So I was thinking, oh, maybe we should slack off a little. But truthfully, if there's not a lot of people in the meeting, we could just have a shorter meeting.
We've done that.
It still gives people the opportunity if they want to. We do have visitors. Visitors are always welcome to pop into a meeting and let us know what's going on or find out what we're talking about. Always more room to expand.
Any other questions about Growell? Sorry to be moving us along so quick. Next up would be Healwell. Kristen, do you want, Teresa, how would you guys like to do this? Would you like me to bring up the action plan? So,
It's all Kristen.
It's a lot of Teresa. I just happen to be in the room right now. There are the slides.
You know the slides?
Yeah, there's like 4. There's not that many. It's very quick. 2 of them are like those. Yeah. But I think that's nice rather than, it's got the same thing on the action plan, but it's like captured in like one slide. So I'll share about Healwell. I will say Teresa is our chair and she is fantastic and amazing. And it is such a joy to work with her. Also, we have other folks in here who are part of Healwell. Healwell just feels to me like we have like it's not like the biggest focus team, but everyone feels so passionate and engaged that it is, it's a joy for me to help support this group. So I kind of summarized our action plan in 2 slides. We had 2 major goals on it. The first goal was to increase health by encouraging and supporting equitable access to nature and the outdoors. So last year for Healwell, there was kind of this focus on the theme of mental health. And this year, with a lot of activity going on with our parks and with outside, we thought that might be a nice focus for our activities to focus on the healing powers of being outside, whether that's being physically active or literally just like being in nature, all of that. So these are 4 different strategies that we identified to help us achieve this goal. On the top, where there's a little check mark, those are the things that I think that we've really shined at this year. One was healthcare in parks. So this was bringing healthcare to the community rather than asking folks to always go into a clinic or whatever barriers they have to accessing healthcare. It's getting health screenings into the community. So we had, as a part of the fruit and vegetable prescription program that was connected through Eat Well, we had them, new vans through Sun River Health, and we had Sonia, who is the NOAC coordinator for People's Place. So she talks about SNAP enrollment, all come to Birth Fair. this year, which is super cool. So Parks and Rec hosts Earth Fair, and we had all of those folks together to do health screenings in the Sun River mobile clinic, and then they did a 2-question food insecurity screening as a part of those health screenings. And for anyone who screened positive through that, we'll make a referral to the Fruit and Vegetable Prescription Program and to the SNAP coordinator. We actually didn't have anybody who screened positive for food insecurity, and that was a really good learning point for us, that perhaps in trying to bring access to folks who don't traditionally have access to healthcare, that maybe Earth Fair is not our target event. The people who were going to Earth Fair, also Earth Fair this year was down in the Rondout instead of in Forsyth Park, so it's a little bit different. But that was cool, and then I know that the Institute, Susanna was able to coordinate some attendance at other community events. That was what the CC Hispanic Festival.
Like 2 Hispanic Festival,
Yeah.
Me and the one in Midtown.
Yeah. So I thought that was great. So that kind of was, they weren't in parks, but it kind of was in the spirit of this idea of bringing healthcare into the community. And then the other one was our in-person events. So we listed to host 2 walks with healthcare providers and a sound healing. That the first one we were hosting in collaboration with Earth Fair, and I will say no one attended. Also great learning from that is that there was so much going on during that time. So we were like, maybe this wasn't the best approach to it. So we had one that was in collaboration with O Positive Festival with Teresa, who was really helping us to bring these partners together. And I'll say that there's a focus for that one. The ones that we were part of our action plan that we didn't really get to this year were parks and healthcare. So that's kind of the opposite of healthcare and parks, bringing park information to the community by placing these materials in healthcare meeting rooms. This was a fabulous idea from Emily that we will do in the future. Yes, we are holding on to it and it will be accomplished. That's TBA, to be accomplished. And then social media, we had that on our action plan, but I think that, I don't know, everyone's so busy. Posting on social media is hard. That's like a full-time job, So I think we were really making these connections to the outdoors through all of these activities. And then the next one was our goal 2 was to improve access to healthcare through policy change. And that, our official strategy for that was kind of the idea of like state advocacy. So using HEALWELL's resources and platforms to support policy change. And we didn't really get to any of that. I think that, if anyone has been talking to me over the past year, I'm super interested in this and having conversations and just trying to see what that looks like for us as a focus team, as a community-led focus team. I added this strategy unofficial, the knowledge sharing, because it did feel like we still made a lot of growth and movement in that area through just talking about it and sharing information and just kind of brainstorming what does that look like for HEALWELL. And what does that look like for our future? So, to be accomplished, looking at policy change. And then, too soon. And then, this is really why I created a slideshow, was the next 2 slides, was because we had some fun photos. Sorry. Good. Well, so this is our walk and talk about food is medicine, in collaboration with the Institute. So thank you, Susanna, and then Dr. Sanchez is the one in the maroon shirt on the photo on the right. So Teresa is in the jean jacket, and Dr. Sanchez and 2 residents from the program came out. And Emily led us through a walk uptown where we looked at the murals as a part of O Positive. And then we also had a partner in the Hudson Valley Farm Hub who donated produce for everyone who attended to take home bags of produce. So they gave, I estimated, it was 12 bags that were maybe 10 pounds each. So I don't know actually how much they weighed, but they were heavy. And so it felt like they were at least 10 pounds. So we had everyone do that. And then the next slide, I think there's so there were 17 of us, 7 community members. It was better than our 0 for the first walk that we hosted. And I think it was great. It was fantastic. Everyone seemed to have a good time. Anything else, Teresa, that you want to mention?
No, I guess the only thing that stands out is just how much everyone really worked. I mean, it looks like we didn't accomplish all of our goals, but I feel like we had so many meetings outside of our monthly meetings to really hone in on the walks and come together with a lot of things. And so it was just nice to see a lot of commitment and collaboration, especially from the Institute and the doctors involved there. So I thought that was a nice addition to this year.
Yeah, we've got great representation. It feels like from like local healthcare providers, which is fantastic. And just like looking forward, in our last Heal Well meeting, we talked about like what is like a little bit of like let's revisit like what is Heal Well and like what is our purpose and how can just we best serve the community and taking a look at that. So yeah, she's great. I don't know. This group is so great. They put so much effort and passion into it.
Any questions for Heal Well? All right, I'm sure they're all cooking in your heads. So our last focus team for tonight will be Play Well. Rob, shall I bring up the action plan? Do you want me to go through it and then I forget, or do you want to?
Yeah, feel free to go through it and then I have some notes too. I can talk about what I did.
Rob, I just realized you're the Rob Jameson who made deliveries for KFC.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
That's why we should get badges or,
No, just,
Are diving into Play Well. So again, you'll see a theme here between all the focus teams, and that is either to support the sustainability of the focus team. So the first goal is to resurrect Play Well. I find that the focus teams are a little bit like whack-a-mole. We sort of give love to one of them and we feel like we got that one going, and then the other ball, we sort of come back to this other one. So Marcia has been lovely at sort of doing a new resurrection of Play Well. So she's been bringing people in a very personal way. Let's see here. I can't see how many times we've met, but I would say that we've met a handful of times. And we've met in person quite a few times. Oh, here they are. Okay. We met in January, in June. Let's see here. We had a couple of, I'd say, flagstone projects, which I think we can get more into. And that really, I think, made the team cohesive to have a real actionable project to work on. That was the Parks Passport and what was the other one?
Chess words.
Chess matches. We did chess matches at the Earth Fair. We supported the Day of Play with the YMCA. So maybe we spent a lot of time on the Parks Passport, I would say. I could describe that so the goal of that was sort of a gamification. It was an encouragement to get people to visit all the parks. We chose 7 of the parks that have Wi-Fi, and Marcia and Rob came up with a way that when you scan a QR code, people would sort of get a stamp for having visited that park. And then we were able to collect all the people who had visited them, and then did a drawing, and they won a 3-month membership to the YMCA. I think that we've done it 3 times now.
But the awards have been given out?
Yeah, twice?
At least twice.
Yeah. There's going to be at least one more drawing. And then I think this pilot project will sort of be closed for this year. But everyone is very excited about it. And I'm very likely that we'll do another iteration of it next year. What am I forgetting about that? Passport.
About the passport?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just we were initially thinking things that would be very scavenger hunt-esque and very ambitious. Then we reframed things around being accessible for people of all types of mobilities. But I think there's a lot of excitement in the group of thinking of the parks as an interlinked, like gamified space. And it's very exciting for it. Yeah.
The other project that I wasn't mentioning was Kingston Walks. As you may all know, Dietz Stadium is under construction, and it's a resource to many people in the community who will walk around that track and around the larger stadium, especially I think people who feel uncertain maybe about where they want to walk. It was very well lit. It was very friendly to seniors, people of all abilities. And so because it was under construction, Marcia came up with 3 different distances and has some suggested routes. It's been published on the Lidwell Kingston website. It's gone out in the mayor's newsletter. And I believe there's a sign being made that will put up on the fence at Tate Stadium. So if you go there and walk and you're disappointed, there's a suggestion of another place to walk.
Because how long is the stadium closed? How much longer?
A long time.
Definitely.
It's like another full year.
Yeah, it's been about a year, right?
Got started late.
It got started late. I'd say they started digging maybe 4 months ago. I guess like that. What else am I forgetting about with Playwell? Anything else? An upcoming goal is to list the resources or the options to find physical activity and play in our community. And Rob, through your other work, we are thinking that we'll have access to a listing of resources soon. So that's an upcoming project.
Yeah, I've been indexing different resources in Kingston, so I have a few thousand so far. And yeah, making it searchable for different key topics like physical activity.
Awesome. Any other questions about Playwell? I'll bring up a couple of slides that Marcia created about the Parks Passport, just to show you the great slides. Get into show it here. But any questions about Playwell? So she was sort of brainstorming how the project would go. And is that it? Yep, that's it. So she's made some great communication pieces for us. Right. So that was pretty quickly about all of the focus teams. And I guess I'd love to take a moment just to ask, especially the commissioners, myself, Kristen, Marshall, I think sometimes in some of the focus teams chairs were so deep in specific work that this is a great opportunity to step back and sort of see the spectrum of the work that we're doing. If commissioners, if you have suggestions for potential projects or things that we could share from one focus team to another, if someone's in one focus team and you're like, here's how we do it in this focus team, you might want to suggest that for another. It's sort of a moment for any kind of cross collaboration or idea sharing. That's a lot. I'm talking because no one's waving me down. So anybody have things they want to share and questions about the focus teams?
I just wanted to ask a question to follow up on Eat Well.
Yeah.
Is Katrina White involved in the food storage thing? Is that's her baby.
Yeah. She was the one who had asked about it, and I was like, this feels like an Eat Well project.
Yeah, because we definitely do need a space, and not only for groups like Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative, but I think of initiatives like where we have cooperative buying for the smaller stores in the community, that they get volume discounts, obviously, but then we need someplace to store everything, so it even goes beyond produce. It goes, proteins, grains, everything else. And I know that's very ambitious, and I'm stepping off, but if that's something that Eat Well could say, let's try to, maybe Eat Well doesn't make it happen, but Eat Well coordinates the conversation among the groups who can make it happen.
Yeah, so to give a little bit more detail about what came out of the working group on our last meeting was this idea we're creating this tangible resource that maybe is like a magnet or something, and it just tells people how to store their food. They really wanted to make sure that they were not losing sight of that. But then second was this idea of cold storage, just storage capacity in general for food in Kingston. And so I know Katrina said that as part of her work, she does check-ins with her community partners in December And so was going to have like informal conversations with her food distribution partners to see like, where are you at, what's your need? They're also developing a survey. So right now there's just a brainstorm on like, what are kind of the things that we would like to know from people? So it's one, her doing these kind of conversations as a part of her check-ins. Two, brainstorm like, what would we like you to know? Like, let's put these questions down to develop a survey. And three, she has an intern for somebody who is collecting all of the surveys that have already been done so that we're also not duplicating questions. So that is kind of going on in that working group. So thank you for, the phrase double clicking has been on my mind lately, and it's a really annoying corporate phrase to be like, don't click on that. Like, give like an extra like check mark to like focusing on it. But I haven't come up with another one, and I'm sleep deprived at the moment because of my child.
One of the things I would also, and you may already be doing this, but getting the food co-op to the table as well on this initiative, because they're trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up, because their original plan of, whatever is not happening right away. But I think that this might be something that they can sink their teeth into.
Yeah, I know that she has had conversations. I think she mentioned like with PBS before. Like,
Okay, I'm talking about the Eat Well group sitting down, not just leaving it to Katrina, because she's got a lot on her plate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like Katie and I have discussed like subcommittees, like that feels kind of like maybe like the best use, like people really enjoy, like the presentations from people, like the networking. So hopefully maybe this will, become a more robust group of people who are working on this sort of project.
I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Wait, I think, you're talking about like a printed resource or digital resource, but you're talking about like an actual storage.
Yeah.
I think
Those both.
I think you
those
need
are
both.
both.
You need
that's
both.
it. Oh, I thought you were, okay.
Because again, they're very much looking at a tangible printed resource and this like survey and like looking at the information that we have, that's like laddering up to a larger conversation about food storage just in Kingston. So that would extend outside of this like working group that's like creating the material. So yeah, I feel like there's so many people who are interested in it, it feels like it connects to Eat Well in so many ways.
Okay.
Other questions about other focus teams or collaborative projects?
I just have an observation. I mean, there seems to be a lot of overlap in what's going on. It's happening organically. So I don't know that necessarily you have to come up with a process for making it happen. I see that there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think that will continue.
Maybe like actually identifying those areas, highlighting those, like where there is collaboration, like.
Reporting it a little bit.
Yeah, just kind of, like with the two areas I'm thinking about with Heal Well, and I guess it's Eat Well as a food issue, I guess.
Eat well, grow well.
Yeah, in terms of, like this medicine walk and, that, and then even like the parks project that we're trying to do more of with Heal Well, that's the collaboration too, but I'm sure there are other places in Live Well that there is that overlap happening that we just haven't identified,
Yeah.
Interesting to see which of the overlaps there are and which ones might be missing, which groups. Not missing, but just where there are more and where there are fewer, that's interesting to look at.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so these presentations have been looking back quite a bit. And so in 2024, I'll sort of ask all the focus teams to start to do some planning for what they'd like to do in 2024. And you're inspiring, maybe there's a way of mapping that out to sort of see, I'm such a visual person, but to see sort of maybe how they might connect.
I could connect, say that, it's crazy.
Laura just did it, that's it.
In a moment.
And it goes crazy. You can all see it, but it's overlapping circles.
Nice.
Because everything that we've been in here talking about all year today overlaps with everything. In order to eat well, you have to live well. In order to play well, you have to travel well. You know, everything is pertinent to everything else. So at some point, you may not overlap in this particular area today, but later on down the line, you might. But you have to have air, you have to have food, you have to have safety. You can't have food if you don't grow. You don't have safety. You can't travel well if you don't have safety, you know, and everything just kind of keeps looping and intertwining with each other.
Thank you so much for that. Absolutely. Anything that seems obvious that we're missing in our work? Yeah.
I don't know about missing, but I just want to lift up what you're saying. Like, I almost think the goal of each group should be to do one collaborative project with each of the other groups. And if every group did that, it would just, even if it wasn't a massive thing, it would just make the communication get that much tighter. We have that Venn diagram that we can actually draw.
Something like it. Yeah, graphically, I see that. That's really cool. Yeah. Other thoughts? So as always, if you have any other thoughts or inspiration at another time, please let myself, Kristen, or Marcia know. And we are always looking for feedback. All right, so that felt like speed dating for the focus team. I feel like we really got in there fast. I'm gonna propose.
My notes are on the other side.
I'm gonna propose that we don't do the meeting minutes this month because Fran left. I think we lost quorum again, so we'll wait and do that next month. Next month in November, we like to do a healthy potluck. It's a little bit less formal of a meeting, and I would love it if everyone would come back and join us again. And then in January, we'll hopefully have some new commissioners come in, and in January, usually we vote on the officers. We set our meeting agenda, when we will meet for the year. There's a little bit of admin that we do in January. And then we usually kick into each month, we have a different presentation from a different focus team. And that's generally the structure of the meeting. Just want to give a little bit of a heads up on sort of that process coming up. Then at the end of our agendas, we usually do announcements and communications, which I'll go have an opportunity for people to give announcements or communications if they'd like. Just trying to think if there's anything else here that I need to cover before we move on. I think that's sort of it. It looked like Katrina stepped up. I know that Katrina had a communication, so I might email you all tomorrow if she wants to send that out. So now an opportunity for anyone who's in the room to announce an event or a program that's coming up, a project, or if they're looking to hire someone. This is a great opportunity to put that out into the world. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share?
Nothing to report, thank you.
That was nothing right now? Dr.
Nothing to
Landers?
report, thank you.
Great.
We're hiring an admin assistant for the 4-H program. I think, I don't remember when it closes, but it's open. Yeah.
That's a Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Yeah.
Do the class. We're doing announcements and communications. You got anything to know?
Oh, God.
What about Pine Street?
I apologize, but this is why I am like crazy here. So the Institute has opened up its brand new, beautiful Pine Street Family Health Center at 140 Pine Street. I started seeing patients last week, and the mental health part of it is not yet licensed and open, but we're seeing patients for medical care, and it's quite beautiful. And the community space is great, and tomorrow we have this grand opening event which of course, anything that could go wrong is already happening, so sorry, and the programs weren't delivered, and this, and that. So I apologize for like being here and taking calls. So yeah, we're really excited and hope you can come visit us. And at some point, I'd love to have like a whole like community forum opening, you know.
That's great.
I think we just have to, people are exhausted because we closed the OBGYN center at Foxhole and all that stuff. So they moved a site, you know, out of site and into a site. People are really tired. But we have a lot of Spanish speaking staff there now, which we're really excited about. Three providers who are Spanish speaking, including Dr. Sanchez. So really trying to address the needs of different populations. So yeah.
Congratulations.
So yeah, and again, I apologize for this, but.
Lori, cooking classes, anything announced there?
No, I unfortunately missed the meeting, which was very short, about the Thanksgiving giveaway coming up Saturday at the Boys and Girls Club. And right now, I don't have any. Except I gotta get to another meeting at 6 o'clock.
Okay, all right.
You guys are busy.
Yeah.
Same building?
No.
I was gonna say at 6, there's a YMCA Farm Project event tonight, or it's like the year retrospective, I believe. So it's going to the floor.
And then also mention that the Y now has been certified, it's the only one in Ulster County for diabetes prevention program. So that's a year-long certification process done from the CDC, so we're happy about that. And then also our Reindeer Ramble will be held on Sunday.
What's it called?
Reindeer Ramble will be held on Sunday, December 3rd. And so it's just running a 5K that runs through the lovely rolling hills in and around the Y by the hospital as well. And then this Saturday, Ulster County is sponsoring like a health and wellness family day at the Y.
Mind, body, soul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So please stop in. There's a lot of things going on. A lot of different folks will be there. We'll be having a lot of classes, and then we'll be finishing up the day with a flick and float, which is a movie while you splash around in the pool. So it's open to the public. Please feel free to come.
What is the diabetes certification?
It's a diabetes prevention program, so it allows people to participate in the program who feel like they're predisposed to getting diabetes, or maybe their doctor has told them you should tend to it, and it just goes through a process with these individuals to tend to it, and hopefully by January or February next year, these services will also be covered by Medicare.
So people sign up for it like through the live.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other communications, announcements, anything? All right, then I'll just say that our next meeting is December 20th at 4:15 here, and again, it'll be that lovely potluck. I really want to thank our guests tonight, our chairs tonight. All of you do a lot of work all year, and we just want to say thank you to all of you for that. And happy Thanksgiving, I don't see it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Bye.
Did you see December 20th?
20th.
The papers, December.
Yeah, the paper says the 15th.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I agree. It feels really late in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. It's right, or,
Yeah.